Salutations, I'm your anime hermit. Today we are gonna discuss about the 10 worst things Frieza did ranked. Dragon Ball has its fair share of antagonists, but the top dog of baddies would definitely be Frieza. Thanks to all the atrocious things he's done, Frieza first appears through halfway into Dragon Ball as a whole, but his presence has stuck with the series ever since. Just as Super Saiyan changed the game for transformations and heroic power-ups, Frieza changed the game for villains, especially for Dragon Ball. Pretty much every villain after Frieza has some connection to Frieza, whether explicitly or just in terms of personality. Toriyama found a villain who worked and does Frieza work. Piccolo Daimao taken to the absolute extreme. Frieza is a supervillain with no equal. An emperor looking to make a profit of slavery and genocide. There's something despicably human about Frieza. He's vile, cruel, and one of the worst villains in Dragon Ball. Number 10. Literal genocide. It's kind of hard to discuss Frieza without acknowledging the very real and very on-screen genocide he committed against the Saiyans. It's an important part of Goku and Vegeta's backstories, one that connects them more intimately to Frieza as a character. It also cements how irredeemably evil is Frieza. It's not too long after his introduction. He's more happy than willing to wipe out an entire race. Happy. Even that's what makes Frieza so morbid. He isn't like Piccolo Daimao who just wanted to rule the world. Frieza's worst acts are grounded in a sickening reality. He is pure evil, plain and Number 9. Enslaved the Saiyans. Of course, before Frieza wiped out the Saiyans, because he was afraid of a local legend, he enslaved them and twisted their way of life into something far more barbaric. It's arguably that King Cold actually enslaved the Saiyans, but King Vegeta's dynamic with Cold in DBS Broly paints something more akin to a business partnership. With Frieza in the picture, however, it becomes incredibly clear that the Saiyans have no real freedom under his rule. They are for Frieza to command, for Frieza to control, and for Frieza to wipe out whenever he so pleases. The Saiyans live and die for Frieza, and for Frieza alone. Number 8. Killed Dende. If there's one character who didn't deserve to die during the Frieza arc, it was Dende. Sure, he comes back, but the poor kid goes out in such an unceremonious fashion. Perhaps that's for the best. Though, considering Frieza's forces had a habit of killing off Namekians in increasingly gruesome ways, rescued by Gohan at the start of the arc, Dende has to watch his entire race one by one. Eventually, he's the last Namek-born Namekian left. Piccolo's around with Nail's power, but Dende's death marks a brief death for Namekian culture on the whole. Dende never even gets to see Frieza's final fight. Number 7. Tortured Vegeta. The final fight against Frieza does not go well for Vegeta. He ends up suffering more than any other character. He does manage to goad Frieza into transforming, but the raw power of Frieza's second form is enough to bring Vegeta to tears. Although he forces a Zenkai before Frieza enters his final form, Vegeta is left totally helpless. Frieza beats Vegeta into an inch of his life, slowly torturing him around Namek, seemingly punishing the Prince of All Saiyans for his insubordination. It's brutal, especially knowing that Goku will arrive just in time to watch Vegeta die. Vegeta is then led to rest in an unmarked grave for a few minutes at least. Number 6. Stabbed Goku in the back. Goku's hatred for Frieza in their final fight on Namek is clear, but he is not a monster. Goku does not give in to his Saiyan tendencies, instead choosing and exist as a Saiyan from Earth, bringing both of his identity together. Goku has every right to kill Frieza, and he does indeed try, but he is comfortable sparing Frieza as well. If Frieza can suffer in his humiliation, that's enough for Goku. It's even better if Frieza can learn something. Angry beyond belief and exhausted, Goku gives Frieza his energy, perhaps not trusting, but hoping. Frieza will let it be. He doesn't, of course, attacking Goku behind his back and sealing his defeat. Number 5. The Super Saiyan Trigger. has more to Goku's Super Saiyan trigger than just Frieza killing Krillin. Goku watching his best friend die before his eyes after he's exhausted, everything he has is immensely upsetting. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. Frieza comes back, shoots Piccolo through the chest, almost nulling the entire trip to Namek, kills Krillin, and then threatens Gohan. That's a lot for Goku to process at once, and in such a suddenly intense situation, everyone had their guard down. Everyone genuinely believed Frieza was dead. Frieza could have killed Goku if he wanted, but he chose to instead hurt Goku as much as possible. Number 4. Came back for revenge. This isn't particularly evil. No one in Frieza's army manages to kill anyone regardless of the timeline. But it's definitely the worst thing Frieza did in terms of sensibility. By choosing to touch down on Earth instead of just blowing it up, Frieza seals his fate. But that's the way for seals to be fate. It's interesting when villains do themselves in. Really though, this is just a bad move. Frieza's been restored and he has dear old dad to lend him a hand. But he fought Goku head on, was utterly humiliated and suddenly think he can pull a Vegeta because daddy updated his OS. Number 3. Blew up the earth. Dragon Ball Super bringing Frieza back is a questionable decision at best. But he at least seems to have learned some lessons from all his losers in the original series. Not only does he do the bad minimum training to be strong enough to fight Goku and Vegeta, he actually manages to blow up a planet correctly this time. Of course, Whis done end up reversing time and giving Goku the chance he needs to obliterate Frieza. But it's worth noting that Frieza would have won the events of Resurrection F had Goku and Vegeta not had an actual angel on their side. Number 2. Manipulated Paragus and Broly. Dragon Ball Super Broly runs with the idea that Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and especially Frieza are all intimately connected. But Frieza takes this to an extreme in the film. He catches on to Paragus' hostility towards King Vegeta and uses that to his advantage, essentially pulling the strings so that Broly can be his very own son. He goes so far as to kill Paragus in order to trigger Broly's Super Saiyan transformation. But even when Broly manages to escape at the end of the film, Frieza chooses to let him be subdued so he can control his powers and Frieza can take advantage of him at a later date. Number 1. Literal genocide. Again! While the Saiyan genocide is just a part of Dragon Ball's backstory, the Frieza arc actually puts the Namekian genocide on full display. From the first Namekian slaughtered all the way to Dende, readers and viewers are forced to watch Frieza slowly destroy a race, to watch his army kill old men and children respectively, to watch Frieza beat Nail to near death, to watch Dende drop dead in the blink of an eye. Frieza is irredeemable and it's impossible to bring him back as an allied character in Super without reconciling this fact. What Frieza has done goes beyond any other villain in the series.